Welcome everyone to another upload for an Honest Schizophrenic update. Thank you for those who are following my channel. I appreciate you guys watching my videos and really keeping up and commenting. Your reflections and your attitudes have been uplifting, and I've really enjoyed reading your comments and responding, so please keep it up. For those who are new to my channel, like the channel suggests, I have schizophrenia, and that's what I talk about on this channel. To give you a little insight, my name is Steven. I am 33 years old, I think. I'm 33 years old. I've had schizophrenia most of my life. Looking back and analyzing things, I know I had early onset symptoms in high school, and then it developed even more in college. But I've been struggling with schizophrenia for almost 15 years, so this channel is really just me talking about my experience, and hopefully people can relate to what I'm going through, and people who listen feel less alone, knowing that there's people out there who care, who love you, and who are going through things that you can relate to. So that's what this channel is really dedicated for. This particular video, I'm going to be discussing something that I've been mulling over the past couple days, pondering, thinking about. I've been kind of just reflecting on my own past experiences when it comes to dating, relationships, meeting people, and so I wanted to take time to address what I think is important, which is it possible for a schizophrenic like myself to date? And it's an important question, one that I think we need to be realistic on, or have realistic ideas and realistic expectations. Because as long as we have realistic expectations, I think it's possible. Before we start talking about things, I do want to apologize quickly. Today I've been a little distracted. I wouldn't say symptomatic. I wouldn't say that it's a problem, like not hospital problem. But I have been distracted because of hallucinations. There's one hallucination that goes by the name of Skylar, who I see and hear all the time. She's been distracting me a lot today. And so I apologize if I have to take a couple seconds, if I pause, if I kind of lose track of time, if I get distracted, if I lose my place, kind of talking or reading what I wrote. I apologize. She's just been just there, just speaking, talking, making suggestions and comments that have distracted me and caught me off guard. So recently, over the past couple weeks, things have been more whispers in the background, but just today, the past couple days, things have been not rocky, but have been different. So I'm leaning on my supports. I want to make sure everyone knows I'm okay. I'm leaning on my supports, and I feel fine. I just wanted to mention that to you so you guys know throughout the video. I'm about to sneeze. Oh my gosh. I am sorry, guys. I just wanted to mention that to you guys. So if you see anything out of the ordinary in this video, you know it's because I'm having some hallucinations and they're distracting. So, but Skylar is the one that's the most pragmatic today. So let's kind of discuss. So I wrote a blog post about this called Schizophrenic and Dating, Is It Possible? That's what I'm going to be reading from today. I'm probably going to kind of do what I usually do. I'm going to read and then stop and talk about what I read. And hopefully this is helpful for you guys. So kind of let's get into it. Over the past few days, I have been pondering this question. Is it possible or realistic for a schizophrenic to date, settle down, get married, and eventually experience parenthood? In order for me to provide an answer, It is important for me to be honest with myself, my experience dating, mistakes I've made, and why it didn't work out with my previous partners. I have talked with countless individuals who have been diagnosed with a mental health disorder, and I've been excited and I felt joy and hope when I listen to other people, whether it's vlogs on YouTube or videos on YouTube, when I talk to people in person, when they describe what it is like stepping out of their comfort zone. I've watched many people, like I mentioned on YouTube, describe their experience dating and what it's like dating with schizophrenia. Sorry, my throat. So I know it is possible for a schizophrenic to meet someone, fall in love, and benefit from being in a committed long-term relationship. It requires patience, trust, and forgiveness. And I really think when it comes to dating as a schizophrenic, it is about expectations. It's about realistic expectations. Not only setting them for yourself, but setting them up for someone else. When it comes to setting realistic expectations for yourself, is you have to be honest that, yes, I have an illness. In this example, we'll use schizophrenia, and that means I might be symptomatic. I might have issues with mania, delusions, paranoia, hallucinations, and more than likely, I'm gonna have an episode sometime. And setting that realistic expectation is that admitting and knowing that it will not be easy for someone to be on the receiving end of an episode. I've experienced that firsthand in my life, that yes, it's not easy being schizophrenic, but it's also not easy being that family member, that friend, that partner, that lover, that boyfriend or girlfriend. It's not easy. It's not easy being on the receiving end of a mental health illness because, you're worried about how to react. You're worried about what you'll say. You're worried about triggering that person. You're worried about whether what you're doing is helping them or not. There's a lot of anxiety and worry that comes with whether it's being a partner, a girlfriend, boyfriend, or just a friend of someone with an illness. And so setting that realistic expectation is knowing it's not going to be easy for both parties, and being honest with yourself that that's the case. So, what has been my experience when it comes to dating? What have been my struggles? Have I been in a committed relationship? What was it like? Why didn't it work out? Before we get into my experience dating, I first would like to mention what I believe is essential when it comes to meeting the right person. Developing trust and not being afraid to put yourself in a vulnerable position takes courage. And movies, TV shows, and music attempt to brainwash us into believing it is about good looks, money, and material objects. Love is not what we see on the TV or hear in a song. Love's definition has been perfectly described to us, with no room for misunderstanding. Before I read what I'm going to read, for those who are new to my channel, I am, whether you want to call it religious or spiritual, I really don't care what term you use, but faith is very important to me, and for those who have watched my videos, you guys know I take faith seriously, especially when it comes to my mental health, that believing in God, reading scripture, whether that's the Bible or the Book of Mormon, praying, having that relationship with Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit, overall faith is one of the reasons why I'm on a healthier path. I 100% believe that it is because of faith, and it is because of prayer, and it is because of my vulnerability and courage to seek out the support of God and Jesus Christ in my life, that I find myself on a path that's not the same as it was during Christmas. During Christmas, I was experiencing a severe episode, a psychotic episode. My hallucinations were terrible. I was manic. I was paranoid, delusional. I thought people were reading my mind, that they were out to get me. I thought the doctors and the people at the hospital were trying to kill me, that they were going to, use me as a cadaver. I thought government agencies were following me. So, it got so bad during Christmas that I almost killed myself. And thank God I didn't. I pushed a lot of people away because of those choices. And I'm really dealing with... I'm taking accountability for that, because there's always consequences to our actions, and I have to take accountability for those consequences. But getting back to it, I think faith is very important, and one of the reasons why I'm doing better right now, I think, is because it has to do with God and having God in my life. And so what I'm about to read to you, I think, is the foundation piece to really finding someone special, understanding what it takes to have a relationship with someone, really what it means to love, and what it takes. What do you need to do in order for a relationship to be successful and to be powerful, and to, and for it to really feel like it's changing you for the better, that you're being lifted up by that person and supported. So, what does it take? For those who know the Bible, what I'm reading is in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 to 7. Again, that's 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 to 7. And it reads, "Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts. Always hopes. Always perseveres." I think this is really important because it tells me what love is. The definition is, love is patient, kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor people, or it's not disrespectful, it's not self-seeking. It means you're not easily angered. It means that you're open to forgiveness and forgiving others. Forgiving others doesn't mean you forget what they did or what wrongs they committed against you, but it means that you forgive them so you can move on with your life. And it's really important for me to implement this in my life. Sorry, it's my legs. They get they get tight, my muscles, so I have to move. But like I was saying, this definition of love, at least for me, is important because I need to implement it in my life. Because I know if I implement this definition of love in my life... Sorry, guys. You'll notice I don't edit my videos, no matter how long they are or what happens. Sorry. I don't believe in editing videos. I think you should just be real and honest. But going back, the Bible verse that I read, I'm trying to implement it in my life because I want to draw those people close to me. I want to be able to have people who are patient, who are kind, who don't envy, who don't boast, who are not proud. I want my energy to draw those people close to me. I want to be able to get to know those people because it is the people who practice this verse in their life that I feel are more willing to accept me for me and are more willing to accept my diagnosis of schizophrenia if we date, if we're in a relationship. Wow. My throat is not doing well today. So let's continue. If I would have known this earlier in my life, I don't think I would be in the situation I am right now. I wouldn't have made such stupid decisions. I would have been more careful, understanding, and patient. We can't reverse time. I can't take back any of my mistakes. I have hurt people. I claim to have loved them, yet my behavior, words, and choices reflect the opposite. in order for me to be honest and have realistic expectations about dating, I need to admit that I've made mistakes, I've hurt people in the past, and I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to do better. And this is really what it is about, is allowing yourself to grow mentally, physically, spiritually, and admitting that you're broken, that you make mistakes. And by really reflecting upon that, hopefully you can realize that change is possible, that hope is possible, that you don't need to make the same mistakes over and over again, as long as you have those expectations, and I really think as long as you have faith in your life. But yeah, let's continue going. Whoa. Where should we start? I think the best place would be where it all began. I definitely wasn't one of the popular kids in high school. I was the complete opposite. I tried out for the basketball team. It didn't go well. I wasn't very good. I wasn't athletic enough to sit with the jocks. I wasn't smart enough to sit with the geeks or nerds. So I decided to be a theater kid. I still remember my role as the Mad Hatter in our school production of Alice in Wonderland. I still remember that, very much so. I remember, I wouldn't say that we were friends. We hung out with the same people. We had mutual friends. Her name was Alyssa. She played Alice in this production, and she was a really good Alice. Like, she played that part. She memorized her lines. She had the emotions and the feelings. Like, she did so good. And I wish I had her talent, because Alyssa, I mean, she could do everything. Like, she was good at theater, she was good in class, she was good on almost any subject, she was good at hanging out, talking with people, she was friendly. Like, she was really cool, a really cool person that I wish I got to know more. She was just, yeah. So, going on, I had several crushes in high school. One of them was someone named Rachel Bicey. She was beautiful. She was smart. We had a couple classes together. She also was the same girl who French kissed me at a water fountain in elementary school. I remember we went to elementary school together, and then she kind of went. I don't know if she went from school to school, but she had, her own difficulties, and I had mine. But she was kind of in and out of school for quite a long time. When it came to elementary school and it came to high school, she was kind of in and out of school for various reasons. But she was one of the first girls in high school I had a crush on, Rachel Bicey. I remember she wasn't that tall. She was shorter than me. She wasn't like anorexic. She wasn't skinny. Like, I wouldn't say she wasn't model skinny. She had some curves to her, but she wasn't like overly curvy. So she was cute. She was. She, at least from when I remember in high school, she always had like dark hair, whether it was brown or I don't know, is auburn a dark hair color? But I remember it was more dark hair color. She was into dyeing hair. She was into nail polish. She was into all that stuff. I wouldn't say that her complexion, even though it doesn't matter, she wasn't like white, but she wasn't. I don't think she considered herself black or African American, or like, she was kind of in the middle. Like, I don't know if it was a tan or just, yeah, I don't know, but her complexion was kind of, it wasn't white. I know that for sure. But yeah, we're getting off track. But Rachel Bicey, I liked her a lot. She was really cute. She was really smart. We were in multiple classes. She French kissed me in elementary school, and I wish I would have told her, because anything could have happened during that time. Really, she was one of the first people I liked, But I was too afraid. I was quite scared to tell her. One of the reasons why I was scared was because it was around that time in high school. Sorry, my leg is asleep. Ow. Ow. My leg falls asleep so easy, guys. That's crazy. I'm not paying attention. No, shut up. See, there it is. She's trying to distract me. She's trying to distract me with her stupid nonsense. So, the time when I was, getting back to it, the time when I had a crush on Rachel Bicey was the time when I started experiencing schizophrenia symptoms. I would hear voices during class periods. It was difficult to pay attention. This was when one of my visual hallucinations manifested herself. She has been with me since the beginning. She goes by the name of Skylar, who I mentioned, who, ironic enough, is the one that's giving me issues today. In the beginning, she wasn't vulgar, violent, or demanding. In the beginning, Skylar often asked about my day, how I was feeling, and would try to make me feel better when I was sad. It sounds crazy what I'm about to say, is Skylar, even though she was a hallucination, I started falling in love with in high school. It got to the point to where I started ignoring individuals who I thought liked me, and I started ignoring individuals who I liked. I was so caught up in Skylar, my hallucination, and I was so, I wouldn't say captivated, but Skylar made me feel a certain way in high school, that I felt like she cared about how I was feeling, and she often was there, and she was around, and she was trying to make me feel better, to where I felt more of a connection with her, even though she was a hallucination, than a real person. I mean, that's how... that is how... I wouldn't say severe, but that's how real hallucinations can get. For those who don't know, is that, especially for schizophrenia, like, you 100% believe it's real. Like, you feel it, you touch it, you smell it, you can see it, you can hear it. Like, it's as real as a real person. Like, my hallucinations, at times, I consider as real as the Starbucks barista serving me coffee. Like, it's crazy, because you know they're not real. Ah, my nose is itchy. You know the hallucination is not real, but your mind, your brain is playing tricks on you, and your mind and brain uses your five senses to trick you into thinking and believing it's real. And that's what happened to me in high school. Is I wasn't aware of schizophrenia at all in high school. I wasn't aware what it meant for the illness. I didn't know about it. And so what I was experiencing to me was real. The voices in class, the paranoia, the depression, the suicidal thoughts, Skylar is my hallucination, and several others. Like, it was real and it was happening, but at the same time, I don't know why, but I wasn't questioning what it is or why it's happening. I just thought, it's part of life, it's happening, okay, let's deal with it. And that's kind of where I was. And so high school for me was really, high school when it comes to dating and relationships for me, there was Rachel Bicey, and that was about it. Like, I had friends, let me think. There was Alyssa, like, in the theater play, who I hung out sometimes. I remember someone named Sarah Hickle. Sarah, I hung out with sometimes. She was in the same friend group. In high school, I remember her having a boyfriend. I forgot his name. I remember someone named Taylor. he was actually pretty cool. I don't remember a lot, but I just have a feeling that he was okay. Let's see, I don't really remember any more friends that I had in high school. I remember someone named Abby Valero. I remember her. She was really dope. She was a cool person. In high school, I think, if I remember correctly, she was going through a discovery period to where she liked guys. She thought she liked guys. Then she thought she liked girls, and I don't know if that ever kind of sorted itself out. But I remember she just was curious and trying to find who she was. But Abby Valero, I remember her. We hung out as a friend group. We hung out at her house during Halloween once, and we watched movies. So I remember that. I think I was the Joker when I went to her house. Like, I dressed up and did makeup as the Joker, but yeah, so that was high school. So yeah, I'm getting off topic. See, like I said, I'm getting off topic and I'm getting distracted. I knew it would happen. Let's continue. Everything changed in college, at least when it came to dating, relationships, and being intimate. This was the time when my schizophrenia went from being annoying to Jesus Christ, what the hell is happening? Like, this is the time when my schizophrenia in college was like, basically it was like, I'm going to F up your life so bad. Like, that's how it felt. I would be sitting in lecture halls and hallucinating zombies, tearing apart corpses. I would hallucinate escaped zoo animals like lions and tigers and giraffes, polar bears just walking throughout the class. I would hallucinate clowns running up and down aisles with machetes, and what I refer to as demons following me everywhere I go. Now, I have heard in different videos and talked to people that some of their visual hallucinations of what they see, sometimes they don't have facial expressions. I've heard that and been told that by some people who have schizophrenia like me. I know for me, my visual hallucinations about 95% of the time have facial expressions. They're never faceless. In college, I remember the demons, that I would call them. They had the blackest, darkest eyes, and it was so frightening because they would stare at me, and I would try to look away, but I couldn't because I was distracted by how dark their eyes were. And they often would make the stupidest freaking grins and smiles, and I would be like, why the heck are you smiling and laughing? Nothing is funny. And so for me, college was a time when my schizophrenia acted up really bad. And I know that that made it very hard to date and have relationships in college, which I'll be getting to shortly. I'm just trying to set the I'm trying to set the place for you and kind of what's happening. During this time, Skylar was with me. It was at this moment she made the switch from being cute and annoying to patriot. It was at this time in college when Skylar switched from being cute and annoying to being psychotic and violent. Can't speak. Violent. Skylar, along with other voices I heard, would command me to do stupid things while in class, like pour water over someone's head or cut someone's hair with scissors. They would command me to trip strangers, push people downstairs, and harm others. It was very terrifying. Like, this was a time also when I was getting paranoid and delusional. It got to a point in college to where I believed I was receiving secret coded messages from the CIA because they had given me a top secret mission. And I would often use newspapers, magazines. Sometimes it would be something I watched on TV or heard on the radio. It could be a billboard, a sign when I was walking down the street. Like, I believed I was getting the secret coded messages everywhere, and it was about this top secret mission. And what was stupid, looking back at it now, is that the top secret mission made no sense whatsoever. Like, every day it would change to where I would believe, oh, the CIA, they want me to investigate this person, they want me to try to talk to this person, they want me to see what dirty secrets this person has, or this person is up to no good, so I have to stop them from killing people. Like, it would get insane. Yeah. So, despite me experiencing severe schizophrenia symptoms, I was trying to balance a full-time job. I was trying to balance being a full-time student and working at the same time. So, it's college. I was very schizophrenic, and I'm trying to balance being a student and working full-time while trying to date and have relationships. When it comes to working, I was a manager at Perkins, which is a restaurant. I was a line cook at a rice bowl establishment. I was a sales associate at Herberger selling shoes before. I was a burrito maker at a Philly cheesesteak fast food joint while in college. And you can probably guess that being schizophrenic, a lot of schizophrenics have a hard time working. Some schizophrenics do work, and they can do it, but I know a lot who can't. I'm one of the individuals who have a very hard time working. No matter what job I do, it puts so much pressure on me and stress that it makes my schizophrenia symptoms more severe, and it triggers me. So when I'm working, the voices, the hallucinations will go from being whispers to yelling and screaming. Stress will make me very paranoid and delusional. Working will cause me to feel manic and just have very psychotic behaviors. So it's just not good. Or at least I've never been able to work very well. So let's get to the dating and relationships in college. What was it like? I will describe my experience dating in college as a disaster. I had a few partners, I had a few flings. During this time in college, I was what I would call promiscuous. I would allow strangers to really do whatever they wanted to me in exchange for a safe place to sleep. Like, my paranoia got so bad that I didn't feel safe at my apartment, even though I knew the people living there, and I knew that they were good people, but I felt so paranoid and unsafe that I thought or believed they were going to hurt me that I would exchange intimacy or sex with a stranger if they allowed me to sleep on their couch or sleep at their place for the night. I was really unstable. I was psychotic. I was not in a good place mentally in college when it comes to schizophrenia. Like, I am amazed that one or two things, but I was amazed that I graduated with a bachelor's in college despite struggling with schizophrenia so bad, and even more amazed that I was able to get a master's even though I have schizophrenia. Like, despite having such bad psychotic episodes, I somehow, I don't know how, was able to pass enough tests and churn in enough papers to where my professors were like, okay, pass him. Like, I don't know how I did it, and I don't know if the professors felt pity for me or if they just felt bad, but like, I somehow did it. I got a bachelor's and a master's despite being very unstable. So yeah, getting back to it. See, I am getting distracted throughout this whole freaking video. I'm so sorry, guys. So in college, when it comes to dating and relationships, I remember one individual I dated briefly. Her name was Fartoon. She was Muslim. She practiced Islam. She tried to practice as much as she could. I wouldn't say she was good or bad at practicing Islam. She tried. I don't remember. She was either Somali, she was either Somali, Kenyan, or Ethiopian, or a mix of all three, or two of them. Like, she was East. I know Fartoon was East African for sure, but I forgot which country. So, and Fartoon wore the women's Islamic attire. So, like, down, she covered her body. She was modest. She covered her hair. Like, she was dope. She was cute. She had really nice curves. Like, she was really cute. But she could drive, and so she would often pick me up with her car, and we would spend time at night at a place called Lake George. And oftentimes, even though it's so stupid to say now, it's my leg again. Sorry, guys. So, Fartoon, here we go. So she would pick me up with her car, and we would go to Lake George at night. And really, all we did, me and Fartoon, for the time we briefly dated, is we would make out in her car at like midnight at Lake George. And I don't know if it's... I really, even now, I don't know if she was living with her parents or with family or by herself. Like, she was out and doing her thing. And so, like, we would make out in her car, and that's really just what we did when we briefly dated. I remember a couple times to where she invited me over to her place or to wherever it was. I remember going to an apartment where she said it was hers, but I really don't know if it was hers or if it was a friend of hers. But we went to an apartment. She led or escorted me to a bedroom. She undressed herself and wore like this. She wore this like nighttime gown, and then kind of led me to lay in bed with her. And I'm like 95% sure. I'm very sure she wanted to have sex, but I was very mentally not well, and so like my brain wasn't thinking sex at that moment or even during that time. Even when we were making out in her car, like, I really wasn't having a good time. Like, I didn't enjoy myself. I was so wrapped up in worried that people were stealing my thoughts, that people were trying to harm me, that I was being followed by government agencies. I was so worried about, failing my secret CIA mission, like, and the hallucinations. Like, I was so worried about everything else that I don't even think I really allowed myself to enjoy the making out in her car or almost having sex at a random apartment. Like, it just didn't click for me. And so that's as far as I went with Fartoon. I mean, we dated briefly for like, I want to say maybe a month or a couple months. It didn't last long. I know she met my parents or adopted parents. I remember us driving from St. Cloud, Minnesota to the Twin Cities and having dinner with my adopted parents. I introduced Fartoon to my adopted parents. I did. I remember. And she's one of the few that met my adopted parents, even though we broke up like a month later. It's silly now to think about it. I will mention two people I liked quite a bit, or quite a lot. There was two other people. Their names were Zainab and Wafia. They both were, again, they both practiced Islam. They were Muslim. They were also East African. Based on kind of what I see in my college years, like, the people that I had relationships with or dated or liked or even wanted to like or wanted to be with, they were usually East African. When it comes to girls, when it comes to flings and like booty calls or like one-time instances or like hookups, times when I went to the bar, when I went downtown and had drinks with friends, I would say the non-dating people, the people that I had one-offs with or just flings with, there were a few guys There are a few trans folks, non-binary folks. Like in college, I wasn't picky. I kind of just went around. Like, I don't know if you want to. Some people might say that's pansexual or pansexual behavior, whatever the heck you want to call it. But like, yeah, in college, I guess you could say I was pansexual. I just kind of was pretty promiscuous with just about anyone. Like, as long as they treated me okay and I felt okay with them, I was like, okay, let's do something. But yeah, getting back to it. Two other people that I kind of liked, their names were Zainab and Wafia. Again, they were a Muslim, they practiced Islam. They both were very cute. They both were very cute. They were very smart. I remember Zainab was slender and short. Wafia was a bit taller and a bit curvier. They were very good friends with each other. And oftentimes they would hang out with one another. So if I was with one of them, the other one was there with us. So I wasn't usually alone with just one. I was with them both. We were in the Muslim Student Association together. We hung out quite sometimes. I went to their house. There was a time when Zainab and Wafia lived off campus and had like this student housing. I'm not sure who else lived there, but I remember going to the house they rented, and we hung out there. I remember hanging out with Wafia in her car and trying to drive around. But I liked both of them. They both, I think one or both of them were in what's called a TESOL graduate program. It's teaching English. What is it called? Teaching English to speakers of other languages. They were in master's program, so they were quite smart. I mean, they were smarter than me, I think so. But I liked them both. It got to a point to where I asked Zainab to marry me in college. Oh boy. Like, the reason why that happened is because in college, I had become Muslim. I practiced Islam in college. And in Islam, there's a heavy emphasis on getting married because they consider it half of your deen, or what's called half of your faith, if you get married. So, I asked Zainab to marry me, and she politely declined. That's like the nice way to say it. But yeah, she politely declined. Now, as you can see, in college, I was very unstable. I had quite a lot of psychotic episodes. I was manic, I was delusional, I was paranoid, the whole 9 yards. Like, I was crazy. I legit was crazy and very unstable, and my schizophrenia was going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in college. Now, combine that with relationships and dating and working, or trying to work. Like, I kind of was failing at a lot of things. Like, I was failing at almost everything. And so, like, I understand why, whether it was Fartoon, Zainab, Wafia, whether it was the one-night stands, the booty calls, like, I understand why the people I picked up at the bar or had just one-nighters with, like, I get why they didn't want to have a relationship with me, because I was just crazy. I was insane at that time. Like, I was going through psychotic episodes frequently, and it was extended periods of time that they occurred. So I get it. I wasn't the ideal candidate for someone to date. And so, yeah, accepting that is probably the first step, is to realize it wouldn't have been easy for anyone to date me in college. So it wouldn't have been easy for anyone to support me, getting to know me, understanding my behavior. Like, dating me in college would have been a nightmare, and so I get why it didn't happen. I mean, I was making very bad choices and decisions in college, so I kind of get it why my relationship and dating were just terrible in college. So getting back to it, this was around the time when I met my ex-wife. Her name is Lily. My ex-wife is Indonesian. We met over Facebook. I know quite a lot of people that have met their spouses or their partners over social media, actually. Happens quite a lot. We started messaging each other. Over time, it became more serious. I didn't tell her about my schizophrenia diagnosis. It was only after we were married when she found out. Lily and I decided to meet in person after I graduated with my bachelor's with the intention to get married. Again, I remind you, this is the time when I was practicing Islam, and so for me, dating and being in a relationship with someone, for me, I was brainwashed by Islam to think that getting married to someone completes half of your deen, half of your faith. And so that was what my brain was thinking. Now, again, she didn't know I had schizophrenia. We had just been talking over Facebook Messenger, once in a while calling each other over video, but yeah, I just never told her. I was scared. I thought that if I told her about my schizophrenia, she would stop messaging me. She would block me on Facebook, that she just would ghost me. So, like, I was just really scared. What happened is I received a job offer to tutor students for the ACT and SAT at a private business or company in Jakarta, Indonesia. And what happened was Lily and I met for the first time in Singapore, where I was getting my visa and everything, my work visa, and then we flew to Jakarta, Indonesia together. Now, let me be honest. Lily was before when we were together, and even now, Lily is an amazing woman. She's an amazing woman. She was compassionate, sincere. She really tried her best to fulfill those wife duties that Islam describes to people who practice the religion. So Lily tried her best to be a faithful, good wife, a good partner. I probably couldn't have asked for a better person during that time to be with. So should I have told her the truth up front, knowing that she was trying to fulfill all the duties she could? Yes. I should have told her, but like I said, I was scared. I was accustomed to people ghosting me, leaving me in the dirt, just walking away, just separating from me the moment I tell them about my diagnosis. It was a mistake not to tell her the truth. Lily and I flew to Jakarta. Like I said, we met her family and we got married. Our marriage wasn't perfect. We struggled. We didn't have the same opinions, politics or religion, for example. Lily was a practicing Muslim. Her family is devout even to this day. They're quite devout. I was the opposite. I tried my best to fit in. When they prayed, I prayed. I wore traditional Islamic clothing. I really tried my best to be like her and her family. I tried to fit in and be as religious as possible. Lily and I would move from Indonesia to the U.S. to America several times, kind of going back and forth. The biggest reason for that is because while we were married, I still was struggling with schizophrenia. In college, like described, like telling you, pardon my French, I don't mean to swear. I was crazy. I was off the chain. I was unhinged. Like, I'm the first to admit, I was psycho in college because of my schizophrenia. And I had gone to therapy at school. Like, they had a counseling therapy department. So, like, his name was Dr. Agers. Dr. Agers was my therapist when I was in college. I saw him. I don't think I don't think it was once a week. I think it was maybe once every couple weeks. But I saw him frequently enough to where he knew of my situation. So in college, it was really therapy, I guess, or counseling. I really wasn't on medication. I was unmedicated. I really didn't have any supports, no social supports, no coping mechanisms. So that's why I think I was just off the chain. Like, I was completely crazy and psycho in college. People probably won't like my language to use, but that's what it was. I mean, that's how I say it. But getting back to it, while I was married to Lily, my schizophrenia really became out of control again, to where I was paranoid. And during this time when my schizophrenia got really bad when I was married to Lily, she tried her best to stick with me. She might not have understood what schizophrenia was. She might not have understood how it impacts an individual's thinking or behaviors. I mean, we were married for several years. I mean, Lily stuck with me for several years despite our marriage being chaotic. Now, I wish things could have turned out differently. I really do. I know I hurt Lily a lot. I put her through a lot of crazy stuff that she didn't deserve. Eventually, we divorced and went our separate ways. And I remember things had gotten so bad between me and Lily at one point when we were married that I thought she was poisoning me. Like, I didn't trust any of the food she was making. I thought she put poison in it and she was trying to kill me. And it didn't help. My hallucinations during that time were making everything worse. Skylar, along with other hallucinations, would command me to do violent things to people. And so, like, I was just in a bad place during a lot of the time we were married. And despite that, despite all of that, she stuck with me for several years being married to me, which shows how much she cared, how much she loved me, that she was willing to go through that much struggle. But in the end, we got divorced, and it didn't work out. Now, up to this point, I did not understand what love meant. Looking back on everything so far after I was divorced with Lily, I had no idea what love meant. I wasn't patient. I know I wasn't kind. I was quite easily angered during that time. I held on to grudges like nobody else. Like, if you said the wrong thing to me, or if I believed you were thinking the wrong thing about me, I would hold a grudge against you for so long. It was really bad. And part of that was probably my paranoia, but like, I was not a loving, respectful, good person during that time. Forgiveness was not something I understood. I did not understand the definition of love during that period of my life. I didn't understand it, and I probably didn't want to understand it. Like, I wasn't going out of my way to learn. I wasn't going out of my way to be a better person. I truly was just stuck in this rut of despair. I allowed my mental health to get to a point to where, after being divorced from my ex-wife Lily, I thought I just didn't deserve to be with anyone good. I thought I deserved to be alone for the rest of my life. Like, it got really dark, a dark place. So my dating and relationships, like, I haven't really had a good experience with. So let's do it. So it took a while for me to get accustomed to being single again after being divorced. I lived with my adopted parents for a brief period. My adopted parents helped me buy a house in St. Paul, Minnesota. Like many times in my life, though, I messed up. What happened was my adopted parents put down $20,000 as a down payment on the house we bought. They helped me fix it up. They helped me, update the house, fix up the yard, the fence, help me do repairs. And what happened, my leg again, sorry guys. Ow. What happened during that point of when we bought the house, my medication wasn't really providing me relief. After I got divorced from Lily, I started taking medication, attending therapy again. I had an arms worker. I don't know if people know what arms worker is, but I had an individual from what is called the Wilder Foundation come see me weekly, and they would help me with coping skills, daily living skills, help me with grocery shopping and bills and all that stuff. So they were called an arms worker. But so I had taken medication, had therapy, and had an arms worker, and even had a case manager at one point. But when we had bought the house, my medication wasn't providing the relief I needed. Therapy wasn't helping. The arms worker, I don't really think was helping that much. My case manager, not really. I found myself getting into another psychotic episode. It got to the point I started believing there was cameras and microphones in the walls of my house. So I kept checking with tools and pounding on walls, thinking there was cameras and microphones everywhere. I almost got to the point I was gonna make holes in the walls with a hammer. It just got a really bad point. And so I got that paranoid about cameras and microphones in the walls of my house. I believed I was being watched and spied on, again, by government agencies. I believed I was being spied on and followed by demons. I thought my arms worker, my therapist, and psychiatrist and stuff were poisoning me and trying to harm me. I thought they were trying to make me sick on purpose. I was hallucinating. I had really bad hallucinations with demons and spirits, evil entities during that time. I wouldn't say they were religious delusions. They weren't, during that time I didn't believe I was God or Jesus or Christ, I didn't believe during that time I was a prophet. I didn't have those religious delusions, but it was more about thinking demons were after me, and that I kept searching for angels everywhere, thinking that they were going to protect me. It just got really bad. Mania was pretty bad. I had really bizarre psychotic behaviors too. I had a car during that time. I drove a white Jeep during that time. And I would drive all around from place to place. I would see a sign that says something, a place, but I would look at that sign and be oh, the CIA is telling me to go to this place to meet this person, and then I would drive across town to drive to this random freaking place, and then I would be where's the person I have to meet? I don't see them. And then I would be then I would look at another sign, and I'd be oh, the CIA is trying to tell me actually go to this place, and I would drive to another place. It got pretty bad. And so what happened was I sold the house that my adopted parents helped me buy. I sold the house. I didn't tell them for weeks. I think what happened is I sold the house. I moved to Alaska without telling them. Then I emailed my adopted parents 2-3 weeks later after I had arrived to Alaska. That's what happened. And so I sold the house. I got $25,000 from selling the house. And me being a paranoid, delusional, schizophrenic, hallucinating, that $25K disappeared. When I tell you it was gone within weeks, almost a month, it was gone. I didn't hold on to it for very long. I had driven from Minnesota to Alaska during that time, and I don't know how I did it. I was psychotic experiencing a psychotic episode during that time, yet I still tried to drive from Minnesota to Alaska with $25,000 on me. And looking back, like, I don't even remember how I spent it. I think there was a lot of stops, of course, for food, for gas, but like, I didn't trust a lot of places where I was lodging at, like hotels and stuff, so I sometimes would bounce hotel to hotel. Like, yeah, I don't know where that money went. Like, it's crazy to think about that $25,000 just freaking disappearing. Like, my impulsive spending during that time was off the chain. Like, it was really, really bad. But yeah, that's kind of what happened during that time. So let's continue. Sorry, let me get a drink. I was under the false belief that by moving to Alaska, everything would fix itself. I believed my schizophrenia would just go away. I was wrong. See, this is a mistake I've heard quite a few people make, whether it's schizophrenia or another diagnosis or another struggle, is that sometimes we think that if we move from one place to another, that it won't follow us where we go. And I'm telling you, my schizophrenia followed me. Like, it jumped in the passenger seat of my car, and it was like, you're not gonna forget me. Like, it drove with me. It didn't leave itself by the wayside. Like, it came with me. And so yeah, I started working for Seaview Community Services, which is located in Seward. Seaview Community Services is a organization that provides counseling, therapy to individuals. They have a addiction program that they help people who struggle with addiction. They have like residential housing for people who struggle mentally and or have a developmental disorder. But they do a number of services. So I worked for Seaview Community Services as a crisis therapist. I did that for several months. When I moved to Alaska, how can I say it? When I moved to Alaska, my symptoms, I don't know how or why, but I felt like my symptoms, they didn't go away, but moving to Alaska, I probably was so delusional that I was like, everything's going to fix itself. Oh my God, I'm great. Like, this is awesome. Everything's going to change. And so I just was mentally just refusing to believe there was issues. I refused to believe there was problems. And so I was acting like everything was perfect. I was going to get ice cream every day. I was going out to eat. I was spending money like crazy. My salary was very quickly gone. Like, I just was at the bar every night. I was drinking. Like, I was living I was making very poor choices in Alaska when I was working for Seaview Community Services, I'll be honest. Now, this is the time to where dating and relationships pick up again. This was the time where Seaview Community Services in Seward, Alaska, is where I met my most recent partner. Her name is Liz. I am 100% confident and truthful when I say this. I had never met anybody like Liz before, and I know for a fact I won't ever meet anyone like her in the future. I'm almost spilled my drink. Like, Liz is special. She always will be special to me. I'll always care about her, and I'll always, whether you want to say it's weird, I don't care, but I'll always love her. Not in like that creepy weird way, stalker way, like not that way. I just mean when it comes to my faith, when it comes to God, when it comes to Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit, when it comes to what the Bible teaches me about love and forgiveness and being merciful and compassionate towards others, like, despite it not working out between me and Liz, I'm still always going to care about her, and I'm still going to love her in the way that Jesus Christ teaches me in the Bible to love people. That will never change. But yeah, like, she's special. I remember the first time I met Liz. We had a coworker named Rollin who was introducing Liz to everyone in the building. And he introduced Liz to me. I was so not hypnotized, but I was so caught off guard by Liz that I couldn't speak properly. Like, I couldn't even say my name properly. I just was really... It was not only Liz's physical beauty caught me off guard, but I could tell her personality and intellect were different from everyone else that I've ever met. And so, meeting Liz, I knew right away that there was something special about her. To this day, even now, Liz is the most beautiful woman I've ever met, that I've ever been with, physically and emotionally and inside. Her heart is pure. She's just, she's just a very beautiful person. I love her. I mean, she's shorter than me. She's shorter than me. She has beautiful eyes, the most gorgeous, cute smile. She has these funny shaped small ears that are adorable. I think her ears are adorable for how small and funny shaped they are. It's just, everything about her was just unique and special, and she made me feel good. So let's continue. Liz to this day is the most beautiful woman I have ever met. Her heart is pure. Liz is kind. She's compassionate. Really, Liz for me is the definition of love. In the beginning of our relationship, we would watch movies together in my apartment. She would make food, and we would get to know each other. I learned she was from Florida. I met her parents. While we were together, me and Liz spent a week in Florida visiting her parents, and we went to Disneyland at that time. But Liz's parents are the sweetest people I've ever met. They treated me with kindness, with love. I mean, they treated me like I was their son or their son-in-law. I just felt really loved when I was around them. And she did the same. Liz provided that love and comfort and affection when she was with me, and I never felt it by anyone else. Liz and I grew romantically. Liz and I grew close romantically. It was quickly in my opinion. It's just, I fell in love with her smile, her eyes, her quirky personality. She made me laugh easily. Whenever I felt down, it was just her mere presence lifted me up. She didn't even need to say anything. She just needed to be in the same room as me, and I felt better. I felt safe. So, yeah. My leg again, guys. So what happens? If everything was great, why am I single? If everything is great, why am I still not with Liz? Truthfully, it was my fault. Liz was amazing. She listened when I was struggling. She comforted me when I felt unsafe. She loved me for who I was despite my illness. Liz did everything right. I have so many memories of us together. When I look at old photos of us, I'm filled with regret. Liz held on for as long as possible. I mean, at this time, there was times to where I had psychotic episodes. I had times of mania, hallucinations, delusions, paranoia. When I tell you Liz comforted me, I mean it. There was times to where I would take a bath, a very, very hot bath, because the voices were so loud and commanding that I would take the hottest bath I could, and I would try to just not drown myself, but I would lay myself in the water, under the water, and hold my breath for as long as I could. So what happened is I would take this hot bath, and Liz being the most lovable, comforting, Liz being the angel she is, she would come into the bathroom and she would wash my hair. She would use shampoo, conditioner, she would use soap on my back, like, she would take care of me. And it was that kind of comfort that Liz provided me when I needed it, when I was having episodes, when I was going crazy. You know, Liz would wash my hair when I took a bath. She would remind me over and over that everything's going to be okay. She would try to hold my hand. She would try to hold my head in her, she would try to hold my head in her hands and kiss me. She would lay with me. She would snuggle on the couch. She would make me food. She did everything right. But I allowed my schizophrenia to get in the way. So where was I? So Liz held on for as long as possible. I was hospitalized several times. I struggled with mania, impulsive spending, hallucinations, paranoia, delusions. I couldn't hold down a job. Every 3 months I quit or was fired. Like, I bounced job to job to job over and over. Like, it was impossible for me to hold down a job. Like, I went from I think it was the Arc of Anchorage, which is a therapy counseling place. I went then to the correctional facility, doing property clerk stuff. And then I worked for a elderly care place, providing in-home services to people. I just was going job to job. It was not good. And at this time, Liz paid for my medication. Liz paid for my therapy. Liz paid the majority of our bills. Rent, electricity, garbage, trash, everything. Liz carried our relationship, period. She was doing everything she could to support me mentally and physically, and then, on top of that, she was doing everything to carry our relationship. It just wasn't fair. I'm not using my schizophrenia as an excuse. No way in hell am I going to do that. I have to take accountability and responsibility for my actions in this situation. It was my fault. So I understand why she ended things. I'm not mad at her for giving up or walking away. I still remember standing in the hallway before walking out the door and Liz telling me, I can't do it anymore. I'm sorry. When Liz told me that, it broke my heart. Even though I was struggling mentally and I was going through crazy symptoms and just my schizophrenia was going crazy, I still felt that when she told me she couldn't do it anymore. And that's because I loved her. And even though I didn't give her what she deserved and I didn't treat her right, I still didn't want her to go. I didn't want her to leave me. And knowing that she was leaving me, I didn't know what to do. So it's true, I wasn't providing what Liz needed or deserved. If I loved Liz, it meant that I would have listened to her worries, comforted her, lifted her up in spirit, and provided stability. And I did none of that. Partners, romantically, whether you're dating, boyfriend, girlfriend, whether you're in a long-term relationship, whether you're married, the goal is to provide stability and peace for your partner. You should be there, and your presence should bring about joy, happiness, good thoughts, positive experiences. And I wasn't doing that. I was doing the opposite of that. Yeah, we had great memories of going to a reindeer farm, going to see movies, going to the Renaissance Festival, going to the State Fair, seeing a musical, going to theater, stage plays, eating out, going on date nights. Like, we had great memories, but the fact is, I did not provide the love and comfort she needed and deserved. I wasn't listening to her when she was going through struggles. I wasn't aware of her worries and needs. I wasn't aware of her struggles with anxiety or doubt. Like, I just wasn't... I know that I was not a good boyfriend at all. I definitely wasn't lifting her up. I was bringing her down with me. And because of that, I understand why she had to break things off. I do. Now, my relationship with Liz was the longest I've ever been with someone. I want to say it was a year and something. I'm pretty sure it was more than a year. I think it was like a year and 6 months or something. My memory is really crappy because of my schizophrenia. Like, I can't remember anything. Nothing at all. Like, months, times, dates, like, nope, nada. Like, my mind's like, no, you're not remembering any of that. But being with Liz, it was the longest time I've been with anyone. The truth is, I still love her. I still care about her. After we broke up, we stayed friends. Now, you would think that I could at least be a good friend, that me loving her and wanting to care about her, that I could be like, hey, I know I'm a terrible boyfriend, a terrible partner, but I can be a good friend. You would think that would be possible. But no, I screwed the pooch on that one too. Like, I messed up. This past Christmas, I relapsed. My psychotic episode pushed Liz away. I accused Liz of lying and wanting to harm me. I was extremely paranoid and believed Liz was cloned by the government. Despite Liz on multiple times begging me to go to the hospital, I refused. I was suicidal. I planned my suicide, how, when, and where. My hallucinations were telling me that I was doing the right thing, killing myself. My behavior, choices, and words were the reason why Liz was forced to put her safety and well-being first. I was hurting her, like I did when we were together. Like I said, we haven't spoken for a while. I understand why she did what she did and stopped all communication with me. My relapse, my psychotic episode was causing her to have extreme anxiety, extreme worry, constantly probably thinking about whether I was safe. I mean, I was causing so much strife and struggle for her mentally that it was not conducive to her relationship that she's in. Because right now, I've been told anyways, that she's still with her current boyfriend, her current partner. They've been dating for quite a bit of time. I mean, me and Liz haven't been together for almost a year or something like that, but Liz is with another guy, and they're great together. Based on what she's told me the last time we talked, Liz, what she's told me and what I've gathered from other people, that Liz is happy, very happy. She's happy with where she works. She's happy with who she's with. And that's all that matters. I want her to be happy. I want her to be with someone who provides everything she deserves. I want her to be with someone who loves her unconditionally. And I know I couldn't do that. So I'm happy that she's with someone that fits her needs and gives her everything she wants and deserves and requires. But going back to it, like I said, we haven't spoken for a while. I'm not psychotic or experiencing a psychotic episode. I started attending church, reading the Bible, and praying multiple times a day. I've described what occurred in my previous blog posts. So for those who are new, to what happened. In summary, in case people are lost because I get distracted, I was in a relationship with Liz for a year and a half. The most amazing woman ever. I messed that up because of my schizophrenia. She broke up with me. We stayed friends for several months. And then my schizophrenia was like, I'm going to screw up your friendship. And I had a psychotic episode during Christmas. I was so crazy and psychotic during Christmas that I was going to kill myself. And because of that, Liz cut off all communication because I was impacting her mental and physical well-being, and we haven't talked since. That's what's happened. So, and what happened after Christmas? Like what changed from Christmas to now to me speaking to you? Because I'm not as psychotic as before. I'm not experiencing a psychotic episode. Overall, I feel quite stable, quite healthy. I have supports that I can lean on right now. So what's changed? During Christmas, the day I was going to kill myself, I broke down in my shower and I cried like a baby. I prayed to God. My computer has a thing on it. I prayed to God asking for him to intervene in my life. God answered my phone call. In that moment of me broken and crying on the floor, Heavenly Father spoke to me and I felt his warm embrace. It was during this time that I prayed I prayed so sincerely and was seeking God, and I'm thankful in my life, whether you want to call it a miracle, whether you call it a miracle or a religious delusion, like I don't care what you call it, but for me, I experienced divine intervention. I experienced faith, a crisis of faith, but faith that I felt God lift me up. I felt God empower me and strengthen me. In that moment, I felt Jesus Christ hug me, and I felt the Holy Spirit surrounding me. It was a truly magical experience because my life changed. I mean, I found myself walking along a different path. My schizophrenia symptoms, in that moment of me crying like a baby in the shower and praying to God, and God answering my prayer, I felt my schizophrenia symptoms lower and lower when it comes to intensity. They stopped being as severe as they were. The voices went from being screaming and loud to whispering. The visual hallucinations, it was as if they backed away and were scared to be in my frontal vision. Like they were just, I could see them out of the corner of my eye, and that's it. My paranoia decreased. Like I wasn't worried people were trying to kill me. My mania, like my psychotic behaviors, my energy, like it was as if my body was reset, that my physical, emotional, and spiritual selves were reset to where they should be. And so that's what happened. And I know not a lot of people will believe me that's what happened. I know Liz might not believe me. But all I can do is continue to go down the road I'm going. All I can do is seek forgiveness for hurting Liz, as well as everybody that's been on the receiving end of my schizophrenia, whether that's Fartoon, Zainab, Wafia, the countless people in college that I had flings with, Liz, my friends, my family, like anyone who I've dated, been in a relationship, or had a one-night stand with. Like, I know my schizophrenia was not easy to deal with, and it probably hurt a lot of people. And I know forgiveness is not promised. I don't expect Liz or anyone else to forgive me. My hope is that individuals who I've hurt in my life are able to witness that I'm making healthier choices, putting in the work to change for the better, and I'm not the same person as I was before. Now, I still love Liz. I miss Liz terribly. I wish she would call or text me. Like, I still want us to be friends. I know we can never go back to being romantic partners, but I still cherish her advice. I still care about what she thinks, and I know that Liz makes me a better person. And I want her in my life even as friends. And I know that might not be possible, but that's really what I hope for, what I pray for every day. And so, based on my experience when it comes to relationships and dating, I've experienced the ups and downs of dating. I know how hard it is to be open and honest with someone you just met. I know how it feels to be afraid of how someone might react. Schizophrenics like myself, we worry about how a potential date might react if or when we tell them about our illness. You wouldn't believe how many times I have heard from other schizophrenics that they were ghosted, their date never returned after excusing themselves to go to the bathroom, or after being honest about their diagnosis, their date replied, "I am sorry, but I'm trying to meet someone who is normal, not crazy." These reactions are common, but I still believe schizophrenics like myself can date and eventually find themselves in a loving relationship. It takes a lot of work. We have to be open to being vulnerable. We can't be scared to be ourselves. We might be rejected 10 or 20 times, but sooner or later someone will come along who isn't afraid to love someone who is broken, a little crazy, or just weird. I know good people exist. I know they do. They're out there. And I know that I just have to keep trying. I have to keep making healthy choices. I have to keep depending and having faith in God and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. I know that as long as I'm on this path, when it comes to depending on my faith, I know when it comes to depending on my faith that if I keep going along this path, taking care of myself and growing, that I'll meet someone who will accept me for me. I know I'll meet someone who will accept my diagnosis of schizophrenia. Like, there's some bad, mean people in the world who judge people, but there's also really good people in the world who just want to love, who want to make other people's lives better. So I know it's possible. I know as long as I am humble and gentle, I will meet someone who accepts me for me despite my illness. This is why faith is so important. It is because of my trust in God I have hope. I know I have so much to give. I'm loving, I'm caring, I'm kind. I want to be the reason why my partner smiles or laughs. I want to be the one who comforts them, inspires them, and brings them joy. I know this is possible despite my previous experiences. I refuse to allow my past to dictate my future. I know I have a lot to give to somebody. I can't close myself off from the world. I can't hide in my apartment. I need to be brave. I need to be myself. Eventually, I will meet someone who accepts and loves me for me. I know it's possible, and I know it will happen. It will just take some time, some patience. It will take me being having realistic expectations, knowing what I can give to someone and what they can give me, and it will take me being honest with people I meet in the future. I can't hide my diagnosis. I need to be honest and truthful with whoever I meet, and whether they want to date me despite me having schizophrenia is their choice. I have to accept that fact. So, in conclusion, is it possible for a schizophrenic like myself or other people with schizophrenia to date? Yes, it's possible. It is entirely possible for someone with schizophrenia to date. They just need to know what they're getting into. They need to realize there's some crappy people out there who will judge you, but there's also some good people who will be open to dating and learning about your illness. So there's good people on both sides. There's people on both sides. That doesn't make sense. There's good people on both sides. Sorry, that doesn't make any sense at all. But you know what I mean. I do think it's possible for a schizophrenic to date. in my experience, my past hasn't shown me the best experiences. Like, I've kind of been through a lot of crappy experiences, and a lot of them were my fault. I put myself in that situation. I treated those people terribly. I let my schizophrenia get in the way. It was because of my symptoms that I pushed them away. So it was my fault, not theirs. But yeah, and I know my experience, my past is not the same for everyone. I've seen many, many videos on YouTube of people with a mental health diagnosis. I've seen many videos on YouTube of people with schizophrenia actually falling in love and being in a committed relationship with someone else. So it's 100% possible. I know it is. So I just need to, stay on the path, continue doing what I'm doing, trusting in God, going to church, reading Bible, praying, continue writing, posting on my blog, making these videos. Like, I just need to continue depending on my faith, really. And I know I'll meet someone, whether I meet someone who is of the same faith or someone who doesn't even believe in God. Like, that stuff I don't care about. Like, I am not picky. It's not like I have really tight requirements or strict requirements. Like, I'm open to meeting someone, whether they're of the same faith or a different faith, wherever they're from, country-wise, whatever their backgrounds, whatever their past is. Like, I'm very open to meeting someone. I just want them to be nice, kind, treat me right, accept me for me. Like, that's all I care about. And I know it's possible for me to meet that person. So, hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. I know we went through a lot. And my experience is not the same for everyone, so just make sure you know that when you're watching this video, that there is hope, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and you're not alone. For those who have schizophrenia, for those who have a mental health diagnosis, please don't feel like you're alone. Your life matters. You're precious. You're unique. You're gifted. You're beautiful inside and out. If I could, I would hug you right now and give you thousands of kisses. Like, I just would want to show you all the love in the world if I could. Like, your life matters. You're cared about. You're loved. Never forget it. For those who are lonely, for those who are depressed, for those who are struggling right now mentally, like, I promise you can get through it. Don't give up. Don't let that illness, don't let the struggle win. I know it feels like you're in a dark place, that, you can't escape, that there's not a way out, but I promise you there is. It's really about you putting in the effort, and taking that chance. The way out, it's there. It's just, it takes a little bit of effort on your part. People can help you as much as they can, but at the end of the day, you have to act. It's your actions that help you get to where you need to go. Someone can tell you, just like Liz did when she was begging me to go to the emergency room in the hospital when I was having a psychotic episode. Someone can be there to support you the whole way, but at the end of the day, you're the one that has to make those choices. So I would have had to make that choice to go to the hospital, to go to the ER, to get help. And it's the same for all of you guys watching and listening. Like, whatever struggle you're going through, know that you have people who support you, who want to see you get through it, but also that means you have to put in the work. Whether that means going to get help, going to the hospital, going to talk to your pastor or religious figure, whoever or whatever church you attend, going to talk to your parents, talking to a best friend, letting someone know what's going on, going to a therapist, taking medication, like praying, like whatever it is, you have to put in that action and effort to get better. It doesn't happen on its own. It's not a magical process that you can just sit there and be like, okay, heal me, cure me, make me feel better, please take this crappy pain away. Like, that's not how it works. It takes effort. A lot of effort. But anyways, I'm getting off topic again, sorry. But I just hope this video is relatable. This has been my experience when it comes to dating and relationships. But yeah, I'm hopeful in the future. I know I'll find someone special and I'll eventually settle down. I know I will. I have hope and faith. So yeah. Anyways, guys, enjoy the video. Again, I'm sorry for being distracted so much and crazy stuff like that. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out. I love you guys.